What's up, y'all? Legendary Talks, episode 98. Then there's 99, then there's 100, so you know what that means. 100th episode on Thursday. I am very excited about that. Hey guys, thank you for joining. Erica, all my biggest fans, thank you guys. I am really excited, like I said, to be able to, hold on, I'm having a thing here. I am really excited to be doing my 100th episode on Thursday, as you know. Hey, what's up, guys? You like my glasses? Anna Corinne Carlson. Hey, what's up, Crazy Legs? Thank you for doing the video. I am really excited, like I said. Got it, pin. Pinning is so hard for me. My glasses are Anna Corinne Carlson. Amazingness, right? We're talking to Roxy Cottontail tonight. You know, kind of like forever downtown it girl. Really excited to chat with her. And then tomorrow I have Yusuf, who's an amazing hairdresser, works for Rihanna, has his own line. And then on Thursday, the 100th episode. Hey, Sarah. I really can't believe that I've done 100 myself, to be honest, but I'm really excited. We have Dylan McDermott, Bevy Smith, Lion Babe, and MOS on Thursday, so it's an amazing lineup, and I'm really excited. Yeah, tonight, hey Jibo, tonight we're going to talk to Roxy. She's just a cool kind of downtown girl that has been really unique and interesting, so she should be interesting. How you guys feeling? What are we drinking tonight? I'm feeling gold tonight. What should we make the drinking word also? What should the drinking word be tonight? What up, Jibo? Ooh, ooh. I'm drinking Belvedere and soda. I'm going to be drinking the Belvedere Super Kale, Superfood Kale on Thursday again. I'm excited. Yes, I just posted a video. Erica and Jibo are in it. A lot of the past guests have been in it, so it's exciting. Of promoting the 100th episode, which is on Thursday. And then don't stop after that. We're right back into it next week. So, hey Chandra, hey Elizabeth. We have Roxy Cottontail tonight. Hey Naomi. Long time no talk, Nams. We have Roxy Cottontail tonight. She is just like this, you know, kind of cool, interesting. You know, she was always putting people on, similar to the way that I was. We have a really some similar parallels. And I can't wait to chat with her. Legendary should be drinking word. Any other? Drank should be the drinking word. Any other suggestions for the drinking word? So far we have legendary and drank. Khalees is going to be on the 100th episode. No, Khalees was my, I think, 16th guest. She will not be on the 100th episode. On the 100th episode is Dylan McDermott, Bevy Smith, who I can't wait to talk to both of them. Lion Babe and DJ MOS. So, no Khalees, sorry. She did do me a great shout out video though, which is very sweet and heartfelt and very her. She's lounging, I think, in her bed, looking amazing. Check it out, it's on my IG page. Just waiting for Roxy to join. Maybe she doesn't know how to. Let me see what's up with Rox. Did she text me? She may be running late. 100 should be the... Okay, so we have 100, Legendary, and New York City as drinking words. What do we think? Those are three good ones. Actually, we'll have Roxy choose. When Roxy comes on... Hi, Boo. Do you want me to request you? I'll get you. So we're going to have you decide the drinking word, Roxy. It is legendary. Actually, wait. Legendary. I have to type in your name and talk at the same time, and it's a bit of a challenge. Hold on, it's not working. Legendary, New York City, or... Hold on. Roxy, request me, because I can't, for some reason, you're not coming up on mine. So just request to join and I'll accept. So the drinking words are, drinking word options are legendary, New York City, and 100. or 100th. So we'll figure it out. Thank you guys, all of you, for... Oh, I got you. For supporting me all these months. I appreciate it. Hi.
Hey!
How are you?
I'm fabulous. I have a French bulldog that thinks I'm going out tonight, so this is very exciting for all of us.
He's in for a surprise.
I'm so excited!
Thank you. I'm excited too. First of all, what's our drinking word? So you have three options. Legendary, New York City, or 100th.
I say New York City.
Fine. Good choice. To be honest, that's what I wanted to. That's the truth. And Erica Hamilton suggested that. So every time we say New York City...
Well, cheers, girl.
Cheers. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking a vodka soda with a splash of San Pellegrino.
I'm drinking a Belvedere and soda as well.
Oh, fabulous.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank you for doing this. I don't know if you know too much about it. This is my 98th episode, and basically we celebrate people that have been very important to culture. And you know, my philosophy has always been, it doesn't matter to me if they're very well known or not that well known. That these stories be told and people get to share these amazing stories, because a lot of people don't know them. And then also people like you and I can tell the story back and forth to each other, but it doesn't make no sense if we're just telling it back and forth. Other people need to hear these amazing cultural stories. You know, like we have a lot, you and I. So
we do.
And you know, I'm really excited to chat with you. So thank you.
Me too. Yeah, I've watched a few, so I know.
Okay, good. Okay, because some people, you know, don't really know what it is, and so I just like to tell them from the beginning. And the first question I like to ask everybody is, describe yourself to me as if I did not know you.
I would say I'm a hyper creative artist.
Yeah.
Driven beyond logic.
Great. Listen, amazing. I asked, you know, most people that question. Some people, you know, don't know what to say. That was a great answer. I mean, you nailed it. You know, didn't stutter basically when you said it. It was great. And then you're from Baltimore, right?
Columbia, Maryland. So I was born outside of DC, but Columbia's between DC and Baltimore.
So I also think too, when people are young, like under teenage years, those really shape who we become as creative people. You know, once we're teenagers, you know, everything else kind of like our brains go crazy, but we really do, I believe, shape who we're going to be as adults creatively as these kind of like 10, 11, 12-year-olds. So first of all, I see Alana Blonde is on here. This is the first time she's watched in 98 episodes, by the way. Thanks, Alana, for the support.
Yay! I know. I called her in like preparation.
What do you think, like, kind of influenced you about, like, you know, the DC, Baltimore? What's kind of like the main influence you got from that and during that time?
Yeah, growing up in that area and basically like punk rock raised me. My mom's a retired music teacher, and she was very great on promoting my love of music. And,
amazing.
You know, when I was wanting to go to concerts at a very young age, I mean, they were dropping me off at punk shows in Anacostia, DC, which is a very rough part of DC, when I was maybe like 15. Like, it's just like, I mean, they would hang out in DC, like, wasn't that far away, but it's just like, it's just unheard. Like, I can't even believe that they let me do that stuff, you know?
Well, I've met your parents, both of them. You brought them to my party several times, and they seem so parental and chill. I can't imagine them being like, yeah, go to the punk show. You know, like, it's so funny.
Yeah, so yeah, I had this influence of like punk rock, but then there was like the Baltimore club and rave scene also stirring in the late 90s down there. That was like just going up and down the East Coast. But I was like primarily a punk, and I was doing a lot of shows between Baltimore and DC when I was a kid. And I started a band. So,
and you what?
I started a punk band, an all-girl
band. That seems very inevitable and not surprising at all. Yeah. First of all, I love your Roxy in the background. Looks amazing.
Thank you. Yes, I'm debuting it on your show.
Oh, amazing. No, it looks amazing. I love it. So, and then also, you know, I think, you know, basically every single person I've had on here is a creative. So, you know, we're so thirsty for information, creative information. how did you get your information as like a 10, 12-year-old? Was it like magazines, MTV? Where were you getting to shape your creative taste?
Yeah, I think it was a mix of like my friends, of course, and like middle school, high school. I mean, even when I was younger, I saw the Bangles when that was like the first concert that I wanted to go to. And I think
What was your first concert? What was your first concert you went to, actually?
was Billy Joel with my parents.
Oh, good one. Good one.
Yeah.
That's cool.
But my first choice for me was the Bangles. So. Yeah.
And you didn't go, or you did go?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, amazing. That's a great first show for you. That explains a lot. You mean?
It does. It does.
I just watched something on the Go-Go's, and they were talking about the Bangles, and the Bangles said they were like the cooler version of the Go-Go's. We're like, we're much more cool. You know, I'm like, the shade. You know?
Yeah, the Go-Go's are really cool. But.
And then, if there was a movie that would like either blew your mind or could describe you as an adolescent, what would it be?
Probably Goonies.
Good one.
Yeah, my first, I remember E.T. like sobbing and like my dad like carried me out of the theater, but I think Goonies was like really what sums up my home.
Do you remember the song, the Cyndi Lauper song?
Of course.
Goonies? Okay, good. And then
number one.
Who do you think inspired you to be a person that you knew, or a celebrity or something? Who inspired you, do you think, the most during that time?
It's Cyndi.
Cyndi Lauper?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Do you know that I worked with her when I first moved to New York the first couple of years. I was an assistant stylist to her for a long time.
Oh, wow. Yeah. My hair girl, Carmela from Queens. Oh, my God, Roxy, what are we going to do with our lives? Are we going to fix your hair pink? Are we going to be blonde or whatever? She loves Cyndi and has done her hair for years.
Yeah.
So.
Do you know her? Have you met her, Cyndi?
I have not met her, no.
You know what's interesting? I was young. I was probably like 20, 21, and we would always be going through this like streets of Soho, different showrooms and stuff together, me and her. And I would run into like Bill Spector, all these people on the street, and she was always really nice to my friends. She would always like be really cool to the people that I was with. I remember that about her. So, just casually strolling through Soho with Cyndi and run into like people like you and Bill Spector and things. It was fun.
Yeah, I would imitate her so often that my dad's side of my family, all of my uncles would make fun of me and call me George for Boy George. So they still call me George to this day. And I was like, I'm not Boy George, I'm Cyndi Lauper. And I had a full-on meltdown. And they still call me George. But you think about it, they actually did dress very similar. So.
When I was doing the door, people used to call me Boy George as an insult, because when I was doing the door in New York City, cheers, people used to call me Boy George as an insult, and I would be like, thank you, that's amazing.
I think that's amazing as well.
Okay, so...
I hated the name George, but now I love it.
Yeah.
What they call
why did you move to New York?
My parents brought me to see, I think I was like 11 or 12, to see Phantom of the Opera for like a weekend. And I was like, when are we moving? This was probably like 93, 92 or something. And I was like, but when are we moving? And they were like, we're not moving. And when you're, 18, you can do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, great. Well, I know where I'm going to go. And so I graduated from high school and I went to Pratt because, as I said, the hyper creative. So I went to Pratt for industrial design. And I moved to Brooklyn at 17 and, didn't know a single soul, and it was amazing. The best.
Well, that's how you do it. It's interesting because I always tell people, if you were born and raised in New York, that's great. But it's the whole act of moving to New York City, that physical act of moving, packing yourself up and moving there, that really makes you hyper-focused and hyper-ambitious, I think, because you moved there. So, right? For
sure. It was interesting because, as I was in school and I worked my ass off in school, I was also introduced to nightlife.
What was the first club you went to in New York?
I think it was Carbon or Twilo, like the first proper clubs.
Let's say it was Twilo for argument's sake.
Basement Jacks, actually.
And how was, because, the first club that I went to was in Detroit, and it just blew my mind. So was your mind kind of blown when you went in, or?
Yes. I mean, of course I had been to clubs in Baltimore and
Yeah.
DC, but it was different. It wasn't. I mean, this is like Carbon and Twilo, as you know, were like mega rooms and like bigger, huge. I mean, it was such a different vibe in every single room,
Yeah.
and you had like just break dance, the break room, the house room and techno room, and it was great.
Well, like, it was like, it was so over the top. And nightclubs used to be like over the top in a great way. You walk in and it would be, literally 3,000 people. You're like, this is insane. I mean, and just the physical energy of 3,000 people, like having an amazing time when you walk in, it's overwhelming in a great, it's engulfing. I mean, so yeah, New York City hadn't really had that since then. That was kind of the end of my first job ever at a club was Limelight. That was my first club ever that I worked
Oh
at.
wow, wow! I did not know that.
It was like 4,000
Is
people a
that where you
night.
and Linda worked together?
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
I moved here. Like, and I think I was working at Limelight a month later. You mean so?
Oh wow.
Okay, and then another thing, like, who was your crew during that time?
Well, I would say my crew really, Justine D became my roommate my
Oh yeah, yeah.
junior year of college. She moved in my junior and senior year of college, and I was in Europe. I had like done a semester in Denmark doing furniture design, and she moved in. I met her at Spa, actually. Another girl that was in fashion. She was like, "Oh, my friend needs a roommate. She's this nightclub promoter and DJ." And I was like, "Sounds cool." Went to Spa and met her, and I was like, "Yeah, like you can move in whenever you want, but I'm gonna be gone." And she was like, "Okay." So she moved in. She became my roommate. We lived together for like 4 or 5 years.
Wow.
4 years, yeah. And I left after 9/11, and I moved to Philly, which is a whole nother part of this equation of my career, and then came back and moved back in with her in the same apartment. We were like two peas in a really weird pod, but yeah.
Is she the one that kind of introduced you to, like, how did you start doing parties? Did she kind of introduce you to that, or?
So she was the one that, I became a sub promoter for Motherfucker because I was just watching what she did, and I loved it so much that I just would promote it naturally. And we would go out, we would be riding our bikes, we would be going. I was actually at my first job, was working in the Vice store when Vice had a store on Center Street. Do you remember this store?
I think so. So, yeah.
It was like a long ass time ago. But yeah, she and that was my crew for a period of time. And this amazing punk band called Japanther were also at Pratt with me, and Pork and Spam. And we just had this like artistic crew of musicians and these amazing creative people. And Justine was like, "Well, I can, pay you," because the flyer, you had to put your initials on it. And every time someone brought your flyer to the door, then you got paid.
Oh wow, amazing.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, I would love to get paid for this. This sounds great."
How did the name Roxy Cottontail come about?
So Roxy came from my punk band that I had in high school with Vicky and Melissa. We were called the Fox Deluxe. And so Roxy was my stage name. And when I came to New York, I had the whole band had like car coat, like ladies' car coats, and had our names embroidered like the Pink Ladies on our jackets. And so mine said Roxy, and then I was known by Roxy.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that Justine kind of got you into the business. I never knew that. We worked together a lot, me and Justine, in many variations. Okay, so then after that, what was your next big thing? Like, I don't want to jump ahead to Sway, but was there any in between?
Yeah. So after I graduated from Pratt, I was working a jewelry design job. 9/11 happens, and I was like, devastated as everybody was. And I was like, well, maybe I can look at other places. So I was like, Justine was doing parties in New York, and Dave P was doing parties in Philly, but they were booking the same artists. So like the Hives, Andrew WK, the Yeah Yeah Yeahs, they would like have these parties. She would do them in New York, and he would do them in Philly. And so I would go to Philly with her sometimes. And I was like, oh, well, I got this design job lined up in Philly. Maybe I can live there. And Dave was like, you're not going to last a year. Like, you've like been living this insane life in New York. You're going to be very bored. And I said, no, I'm going to love it. I lasted a year. I came back. But I moved to Philly. And when I was in Philly, I met Diplo and Low B and Spank Rock and Amanda Blank and Jason Mustin and a whole crew of incredible people that.
Well, you were probably like the coolest person in Philly at the time, so they all kind of migrated. They could probably migrate towards you. I'm just being honest. Like it seems like if I were to move to Philly or something, it'd be like of course we would naturally gravitate. The cool people would naturally gravitate towards each other, basically.
Yes,
so
for sure. And they are. It was a time period that could never be replicated. Like it was just like they were doing this rave in like a Ukrainian dance hall. It was just bizarre, and it was amazing.
So how did Sway Mondays come about, first of all?
So when I came back from Philly and moved back in
What year was that?
2002. I mean, it was like a year after 9/11. And 2002, and I was like, Justine, I met these guys in Philly. They just did this mixtape, Holertronics. They're blowing up. I want to promote them. And she was like, you should. Like, no one else is going to do it. And so I started doing these parties with Diplo and Low B, booking Spank Rock's first show in New York, making him perform on the top of a bar, which is now the new Max Fish, what used to be called a place called 13 Little Devils that like no one ever went to except for the handful of people that I invited. But I started just doing all these parties. I got a job designing. I was like doing like crappy gift with purchase Lancome and Estee Lauder, like just tacky stuff. Anyway, I was doing that, and I started promoting like monthly parties, like very big monthly parties with Diplo and Low B and Holertronics and other different performers. And then I met Bugsy. I met Aaron through Sarah, who worked at Vice, and Aaron was really a catalyst when I introduced him to the mixtapes and the artists from Philly that I had been working with. And he was like, this shit is dope. And so we started doing parties together. One of the first big ones, well, John Street was the first big one, but then the second one was at 9½, which was where we did Rock Candy. Well, it became Rock Candy. Do you remember this?
Yeah.
Was that Wednesday nights?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was Wednesday. I have no idea, but
yeah. So then I met Bugsy through Aaron, and Bugsy at the time had 3 clubs, and he said, I want you to do a weekly. And I was like, but I have a job. Like, I can't do a weekly. And he's like, quit that shit. You don't need that shit. You're a superstar. Don't buy into that ball and chain shit. And he's like, if you ever need money, I got you, Roxy. And I was like, I'm so scared, like it's a hustle. And I was not mentally, I wasn't there, but like I had the stamina, you know what I mean? And I was like, I couldn't equate, but then he was like, kind of like my safety net. And I practiced DJing in his clubs. God bless him. He let me practice because I didn't have equipment. So I started practicing in his clubs. And then I started Sway, like after I had like my ball kind of rolling and like a weekly.
Well, it's interesting because, that's that whole thing. Like, you realize if you work a 5-day regular job, and then you work, I don't know, 2-3 nights in a club, you make way more money in a club, and it's like, it's not any easier. People think it's easy. It's not any easier. It's just a different way of working. It's hard work. You and I both know it's very hard work. It's just, I think the monotony of that 9 to 5 versus the excitement of the job of, I always say nightlife, it's never the same thing twice. Never. Literally never the same thing twice. So,
but
never.
When I met Aaron, he and Mike Stace were doing a Monday night at this club called Jackrabbit Slims that used to be next to the Bathhouse on 10th Street. And it was Monday nights, and it was just wild. And they were like, we're moving this to Sway because Morrissey night started on Sundays. And they're like, okay, all the like freaky cool kids are going on Sundays. We're going to start Mondays. And so I started going, and it was like me and 20 guys. And I was like, this is not cool. Like, it's cool because you guys are cool, but like, this is not cool. And so then I was like, let me do every other week. Or I did monthly first, girl on girl, my all girl DJ party. And then I was like, let me that was a hit. And then I was like, let me do every other week. And then that was a hit. And they were like, just take it over. And I was like, okay.
Well, because I only know it as your party. It's, I only know it as your party. And I, was, I feel like must have had a party that night or something, 'cause I didn't go there that often. But I remember knowing that, kind of being aware of it, and that it was kind of like, I really became aware of Diplo and A-Track and all these people because of you, really, and that party.
Yeah.
And, in a lot of ways, I've done it for a lot of people. I'm sure you have as well. You really were putting them on and putting them on the map, and they go on to these like huge mega superstars. How do you feel about that in particular? Like, I've done it for many people too. Just curious, like, what's your take in the fact that I only know about them because of you. That's the truth.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, there's so many artists that played it, Sway, from Azalea Banks to Matt Page to Diplo to A-Track to DJ Mehdi, R.I.P. to who else? I'm like blanking. Big Frida's first show in New York was at Sway.
Amazing,
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah. So I am so happy for people's success. And
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way.
I love music so much that it's just
listen, you're taking the words out of my mouth. I feel the exact same way. I'm such a fan of talent and great music. All I want to do is support it. I'm the same way. So
it brings me joy to see that the music that I love, like at the time when I had first started promoting a lot of these artists, like I didn't think, like I did one of Promeo's first shows in New York at Knitting Factory downtown, and it was a blizzard and I was devastated. I was just like, I just wanted people to hear them, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And so to see them grow and flourish and be, well known, it makes me very happy.
Yeah, no, I feel it's the exact same way. I think it takes a certain eye, though, to recognize who, because, first of all, let me first say, I love having a place to showcase talent. I think you do as well. So almost every time I do a party, I have a performance, I want that. I want it that way. So number one, because I want people to be able to have a place to perform, showcase them. But then also, it takes a keen eye to know, like you and I both, like who should be performing. There's millions of people that say they want to perform, hit me up, and I'm like, maybe, but like my thing is, you are very, what's the word? It sounds terrible to say, but you were a real tastemaker during that time, and a real visionary when it comes to spotting who was talented, basically.
I mean, I don't know if it's the eye, but it's the ear. It's a combo. Like
it's the same thing. They're the same thing, to me. Like.
But I agree. It's like.
And like I said, I always. What?
It comes naturally to me.
Yeah. No, but you, like you said, you love music. I love music as well. It's the same thing. And then, how long was Sway? How many years was that party?
Oh my gosh, I think it was like 9 years.
What was it called?
Just Mondays at Sway.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Well, I mean, I hosted it a few times with you, and I had been there. I just wasn't always like kind of. I feel like I must have had a party or something. I think it was working like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and I'm like, girl, I can't do Monday, and that's what it was.
Oh yeah.
So, but I went, enough, and I hosted a few times with you. I know, it was fun. I know it's very kind of like rowdy and fun, and like, like no rules or something. It was really fun.
No, it was, and there was a period where before like photography became a thing, where you could smoke weed freely. And that was just the most beautiful time period ever. So.
And then, well, that was kind of the old New York City. Cheers.
Yeah, I know. Cheers to old New York City.
And then you started, I remember, because then I think, okay, actually, first, what's your first memory of me?
At Lotus, being fabulous. I mean,
got it, okay. Yeah, I remember you.
Yours.
I just remember you kind of being, I think it was Sway, and I think like, Linda or people had told me a lot, I need to like meet you and we need to know each other and stuff like that, which I don't like when people do that. It always puts a weird tint on the situation. And they were saying, Vashi and you. So people kept saying, you gotta trust me, you're gonna love them, you're gonna love them. You guys are around the same time. And I think it was probably at Sway, and I think we instantly just clicked. You were like, kind of like, not airheady, but a little airheady. I could tell you were smart, but you're like a little kind of bubbly, airheady in a great way, and really, just really open and free. You were a very free person when I first met you. That's what I thought. So, Yeah, I know. And then you started DJing and making music, which I thought was kind of really amazing because I kind of knew you as this promoter. Then, like, I feel like a couple months later, all of a sudden you were DJing a lot of parties and performing, making music.
Yes.
So
Amanda Blank was the one that basically, I don't know if she wrote my first rap. She did write my first rap, and she's like, you have to yeah, we're gonna write you a song. And I was like, okay. And then after that, I started writing my own music. So the Kate Moss song that you posted was like one of the first full raps, and like 3 bars, hook, bridge, everything that I wrote. And I'm very proud of that song, except, you know, I don't love to promote drugs anymore, but it was fun at the time.
yeah, no, I remember you kind of then getting booked and doing kind of these like semi-big shows and things for like, I feel like a lot of Coachella type stuff. You were doing good.
I toured around the world. I went to a full Asia tour, Europe maybe 3 or 4 times touring. The farthest I think I went was the Philippines. I played like Iceland Airwaves. There was a lot of festivals. I mean, I was doing Winter Music Conference in South by Southwest for like a decade.
I remember you being like all of a sudden kind of like this pop rapper or whatever you were, like a rapper, you know, like a, you know, it was amazing.
For sure.
And then also, so we only worked together one time. I was thinking about it today. We've only worked together one time, one party.
No.
No?
Lotus was the first.
We were together at Lotus?
I believe so, on Wednesdays.
No, I did the Sunday. I didn't do the Wednesday.
Oh, Sunday. So we did 9.5 and Rock Candy on Wednesdays.
We did?
Yes.
But we did room service. Room service.
Yes. Okay. Sorry.
Oh.
So yeah, before room service, it was called Rock Candy.
Okay, maybe okay. You have a better memory than me. But so let me ask you this. So just so people listening right now, we did. I'm going to call it room service, but
and I also hosted and DJ'd a few times at Baby I'm a Star at Mr. H.
I know we're not there yet. We're not there, by the way.
But we worked together more than once.
Well, in my head, no. I mean, we know like together, not one-offs. Like we worked closely together, only on one party basically, which was room service, which was a '90s party in about like 2005-ish. You mean around that time when it was kind of like, but it was a little before the '90s kind of wave. You know, we're only '90s music, 100%, and it was a really fun party. I remember. Well, I have a question for you. Was that my party or was that our party? I don't remember at all.
It was ours. It was like Manny brought us all together. I don't know. I think it was just all of us. It was like,
yeah, I don't
probably.
Yeah, I don't, because I feel like it was my party. It was like, I think it was our, I feel like you and I ended up kind of like doing it. I think it was originally my party, and I think that you and I got along really well, so we started doing it kind of like both, it was both of our party at that point. Because I really liked working with you. I remember thinking, wow, you're really on top of things and you're really together, which a lot of people aren't a lot of times, you know?
Yeah, like,
but that was the first.
I need the artwork, here's the flyer, I need the dates for the whole month, give it to me.
And that was the first time I think we really worked together, you know?
Yeah.
And then I remember about that party, like we did Kesha's 21st birthday, do you remember that?
Yes.
And then Kanye was coming there all the time because he was running Flashing Lights, that album. He was coming there all the time, being shady to me and being nice to everybody else, being nice to everybody, literally. Being shady. What I do to you?
I also remember MIA and Daft Punk played in Brooklyn at the Coney Island Stadium. And after the show, I was like, Manny and Chris Rita, I got Daft Punk coming and I need to use the strip club. Like, we need to go to the strip club. Our party was dead that night. And I was like, I need to go to the strip club with Daft Punk and MIA. Make it happen. And they roll up and they were like, well, first of all, I don't think that someone didn't know who Daft Punk was. And I was like, Jesus, take the wheel. And then they were like, well, where's their helmets? And I was like, oh my God. Like, but anyway, they let us in the strip club that was next door. 10s? Yes, 10s.
I don't remember that at all, actually. That's a great story.
Yeah, I abused my privileges there.
Good. I mean, it was Manny. He was great. Do you remember Janet Jackson and Jermaine Dupri coming?
Yes, I do.
They came a lot. Actually. And then I hired Shane Oliver, and Shane, who went on to do Hood by Air, we know, but he tells everybody, like, I've gone to his shows, it's like, you know, 70 press people, and I'll come say hi. And he said, Damon gave me my first job ever. Damon is the first person to ever employ me. So that party, in a lot of ways, was really ahead of its time, too. And it was a great combination, I think. You and I worked really well together. And then also something hilarious is that Alana Blonde claims that I hired her as a sub promoter for that party. I'm like, girl, I have legitimately. She says that I employed her. I have no recollection of ever doing any of that. Do you remember that?
I don't know who else was promoting besides you and me. It was
Listen,
like
she claims that I hired her. I'm like, I don't think I did. She swears I did. So I'm like, I don't know.
it's possible.
Yeah, it was a fun party. I liked that party a lot.
So.
And then I like, do you remember we did a photo shoot? It was a group photo of us.
Yes.
Who has that photo?
I don't know, but that was a classic.
It was
I
me,
could
you.
find it. You know what? I've just like dug up all my hard drives.
Well, you have something about you I want to say too. You're always sending me old photos. You should, one of the many people I know, but you should definitely do a book because you have so many photos.
I'm doing a book.
Yeah, you should. You totally should.
I just moved to my parents' beach house. This was something that I had planned at the end of last year. The family beach house was vacant. Raccoons had moved in. And I am here to write my book.
Good. You're writing or?
Yeah, writing my book.
Oh, good, good, good. I meant a photo book. You should do a photo book.
That's going to accompany me, of
course. Photo could be easy. You can do that because you have so many photos.
Yeah.
And then also you reminded me the other day that the first time that Prince came to Baby I'm a Star, you were there. So DJ Kiss and I obviously love Prince very much, and we called the party Baby I'm a Star based off of his song.
Yes.
So one night we had an all-girl DJ lineup. It was you, Kiss, who else was spinning? EQ. It was a bunch of girls, right?
Yeah. I forget.
It was like,
I don't know if it was EQ. It was another.
Maybe Jasmine Solano. It was a bunch of about 4 or 5 girls. And they're like, Prince is coming, and I heard that you have a good.
Okay.
Go.
Prince rolling up, and you were like, oh, this, and it was kind of slow, but we had that one side room to put him and his crew in, and I just remember, I think I went outside to like talk to someone on the phone, like that Prince was coming, and this like purple aura of a star came out of a vehicle with a squad, and I was like, wow, this is surreal. And I came inside and you were like, Roxy, I can't believe this. And I was like, I can't believe it either. And you were like, I'm wearing combat boots. And you were so upset that you were so casual. It's like your normal, like just, it was so hilarious. And I was like, okay, it doesn't matter. It's fine.
Well, it did matter because Prince went like this to me.
Oh, stop it.
Totally. Down to my shoes, trust me. He didn't miss a trick. And then what I think is hilarious about that night is that, so Kiss also loves Prince very much, and we both ended up working for him after the fact, but Kiss, I don't think Kiss had met him either at that point, and he was coming from like the back room to the DJ booth, and I was like very excited. I was kind of like leading the way, it was Damaris, me, I was leading the way to like bring him to the DJ booth, and I look, and Kiss is not in the DJ booth. I think it was like, I don't even know, it was some other person spinning. I'm like, Kiss was in the bathroom. I'm like, this is a disaster. You mean? She missed the whole thing. And then I think she even said to me, she's like, do you think he'll come back? I'm like, no, girl, he's not coming back. It was like, it was funny. That was very funny. And then
also, another one, Misty came. And
oh,
she
that's
was
right.
so cool. She was
Yep.
amazing. And I was like, I don't really fan out for, I mean, of course you're going to fan out for Prince.
Yeah.
And Missy was just like a slice of humble and just so sweet and nice. And I was like, I can't even be nervous around you. You're like so chill.
I have so many stories about her that night, great ones, hilarious ones. But one thing I will say is that I didn't know her at that point, and she wanted me to come do the sound check in the daytime. And I had like a kind of a tight day, and I was like, I don't really want to go to the sound check because I offer nothing as I can't, I'm so not a technical person. I'm like, I wouldn't even know what to do, so I didn't go to the sound check. I'm like, so rude, right? But she was really funny. She was amazing. Yeah, she was really sweet. She was really generous. She's very shy, but she kind of took pictures of everybody. She was great. And she's like this big, you mean? So. Yeah. So then for you, what was next for you after that? Like
I mean, Sway went on for so long and became like that was like my post 9/11 like tribute to bringing joy to New York and bringing people together. And then I did so many events and gigs, and then I did Whip for a brief period afterwards.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Which was really fun. And I booked a lot of different artists, very similar style in the way that I did. Oh, I was wondering, did you used to do Imperial?
No.
You don't? No. I thought you booked like Gaga there, or I don't know why.
I did Gaga at the Rivington Hotel.
Oh.
That was an amazing one because it was actually the first party that me, Kiss, and MOS did together ever was at the Rivington Hotel. We called it Dance Music, Sex, Romance, another Prince song. And it was probably our second or third week, and Gaga's manager, who was Khalees's old manager, said, we want to do your party. And she performed for probably, 100 people, and she tore the roof. I mean, she was brand new, and she tore the roof off. And then I have all these videos and stuff of me and her, and she, a blogger was filming me that night and not her, ironically. So she's kind of sitting in the corner where they're interviewing me, and she's like laughing at my jokes. But I think the takeaway is that she was like probably maybe 20 or something, and she performed like she was performing for 30,000 people. She was amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I was doing this party at Imperial briefly, and it was not often. It was like a one-off I would do, but I would host, like Slick Rick played and Cameron performed, and then I like hosted a birthday party there. But it was like a really fun vibe. It had a skate ramp in it. It was very different.
I don't remember Imperial at all, by the way.
Okay.
I have no recollection of the Club Imperial. But Cameron and I performed at my birthday, I think 3 years ago. I came out in the pink fur on the cell phone and started doing some Cameron dance, and he came out of some side door and started performing.
He is one of my favorites still to this day.
I know. And then, so then after, because you kind of like took a step back from nightclubs, right?
Yeah, so, when people are like, oh, well, you did songs with Larry T and Armand Van Helden, and kind of like flourished into this EDM world and created this whole scene. And, part of me is like, man, I moved to New York to be a designer, and I didn't do that. And so I kind of took a step back from like what I really wanted and to accomplish in New York. And at the same time, in the jewelry world, 3D printing was taking off. So I went back to school and I studied 3D printing and manufacturing for jewelry, and then ended up, rebuilding my portfolio, which had not been in existence for damn near like 15, 16 years since I graduated. And I was working on this really amazing 3D team for Coach, developing bag hardware and jewelry. So I was doing that, and then I started, taking some time off from nightlife, which was kind of like taxing me at the time. And I played at Mr. Purple every month, and I would do like, other gigs here and there, but nothing that was like regular, because I was working up to like 6 nights a week. I mean, like you could work 7 nights and 7 days if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's true. No, I worked 7 nights often, like in a row, like you just work 7 nights a week. Yeah.
And so I took some time off, and I was working for this really like a incubator of 3D and fashion for this like 75-year-old house of leather. And it was an incredible experience, and I'm happy that I crossed that off my bucket list. And then about a year ago, I started having these like thoughts that I wanted to leave New York. And it was very weird, kind of like out of body. Like I felt claustrophobic, and I had not ever experienced that before, because I was like, felt like I was ride or die for New York. Yeah. And I traveled a lot last year. I went to New Zealand, Bali, South Africa, where I met Cedra Smith. Remember I sent you photos of us? She
was on here like 2 weeks ago, and she's talking to me like you are, and she's talking to someone else like this the whole time. And she's like, tells the person to come over, and it's freaking Angela Bassett. I'm like, what are you doing at Angela Bassett's house? She's so funny. She's so that. Anyway, yes.
But yeah, so I was in South Africa. I met her, and we put it together that you're the connection.
Yeah.
And Roble as well. Because after, like before I was going back to design full time, I had started to do the brunch at Yotel. So I was doing the drag brunch at Yotel from like 2011 to 2015, which was Sundays during the day, which was like a great transition for me to get out of the whole crazy nightlife and the hours that I was like, I want to see the sun. Like, I want to just like experience a day. And so then I was like doing the brunch, working on my portfolio, going back to school. And then just about a year ago, I was like, I need to write this story because there's so much that has transpired in the last, I don't know, 20 years, even before that, when I was a kid, you know, like I was in utero and I was DJing because my mom was a music teacher. Like there's a lot of story to be told. And I said, you know what, like people have been telling me to write a book or like share the photos, a visual, anything, you know, since forever. So I'm really excited to.
Well, I think it's great. It's, you know, I basically every single person I've had on this show, I've told to write a book. I'm so glad. And I would say maybe 5 out of 98 are doing it. You know, so like, you know, it's not that many is my point. So you know, myself included, I'm also lazy about it. I need to do the same thing. But I am so glad you're doing it. I want to read it. You know, I can't wait to, you know, if you need any, like, did this happen this night kind of thing, please call me.
Yeah,
you know, that
no,
kind of
well, I'm going to do interviews, which I'm working on, you know, getting that whole transcribing together. But I'm really excited.
Kanye used to always come to our party and be shady. I'll say that. He came a lot. He came every week. He came every week, right?
He was there very often. And I also remember we had Steve Aoki DJ once too. Do you remember this?
Yes, we had Theophilus London perform. We had who else? He did we had tons of people there, tons. But you know, it was a fun party. I liked that party. It was kind of short-lived, maybe 2 years, but I really liked it.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 2 years.
Yeah.
He left. But it was great.
I liked it a lot. It felt very cool and real, basically. So.
Yeah, I forgot that Sundays was Lotus for you.
Yeah, that was mine, and I did that for 7 years.
But I swear I remember meeting you there because I would go on other nights too.
But I went on Wednesdays as well, so we might have went. You know, we might have met. Okay, so some fun questions. What are the 5 best parties you've ever been to, ever, or worked on, whatever?
Wait, I just want to make sure my phone's not dying. Hold on.
Well, we only have 10 minutes left anyway, or less. So.
5 best parties. So I'm going to say one of them that I did at Imperial was a Red Bull contest. This was, I think, 2000.
Wait, I'm sorry to cut you off. I totally remember Imperial, and I did one other time. You had me. I did one with you at Imperial one time, I think.
You
did.
Okay.
I remember now. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, I knew that there was a connection there. But so this party, I had all these different, Red Bull sponsored it, and I had all these different pop-up performances scheduled to happen. And when Red Bull came to check out the venue early on, I had Svedka sponsor it. There was a photo booth, the whole shebang. I put like a reel of all the logos going up, projecting on one wall. And Red Bull is very strange about their logo. And the guy was like, I didn't approve this. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I can take it down. And I was like, well, what do we put up? And just so happened that Ebony Wildcat had a collection of porn in her bag, and one was called Brown Bagging. And we put on a brown bagging porn, projected this on the wall. So it's a porn of women in brown bags getting fucked. And this party turned into, I mean, pillow fight, like feathers everywhere, full on debauchery. And I had all these little pop-up performances from Hollywood Holt, Mape, Maluka, and Ebony performed as the Clench. Team Facelift, which was the Fat Jews' first rap group. It was like all these little pop-up performances going on during like a pillow fight with feathers everywhere. And like last night's party came, documented the whole thing. Thank God, because like you wouldn't have believed it otherwise. That was a great one. What's another one? Oh my God, this is hard. There's so many good parties. I mean, I guess when Prince came to Baby I'm a Star.
It's a good one. I agree.
This is hard.
We can come back to it. Let's come back to it.
Okay.
So I want to ask you a different one, which is easier. If you had to go to dinner with 4 people, living or dead, who would you go to dinner with? Anybody?
I would say probably both of my grandparents in their prime.
2 more.
Well,
4
there's 2
people.
sets.
Oh, both sets. Sorry, my bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Great. Good answer. People always say like Michael Jackson or something. That's a great answer. Good one.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I've been doing actually a lot of estate planning for my remaining grandfather under quarantine because my mom became power of attorney. So I just declared myself power of paralegal, which is pop. So I feel like I'm just like invoking their energy and I like need to be
Cool.
around it.
Cool. I believe that. Yeah, I believe you. I feel that for you. So what inspires you right now in life, maybe in the last year or 2 in your life? What's kind of like a main inspiration for you right now?
My main inspiration, I would say, you know, because of having to be quarantined and being indoors and away from all of the people that I really love. I mean, I was lucky to see a small pocket of people when I packed up my apartment in New York. It's just, I'm inspired by all of these old throwback stories that we get to share with one another, like right now. That keeps me inspired. Like just recalling all these memories for the timeline of my book and these different milestones that happen throughout our careers is legendary. Let's drink to that.
All right, sure. You know, I think too is that, you know, it's great to have a conversation with someone like you because I know you get it more than others, is that, you know, things happen so quickly for us in our industry. You know, we could have one night where it's Prince and Janet Jackson one night, and then the next night you're working somewhere. It's just like you're just on to the next. It's like it's never ending. So you never really get a chance to digest it or say, wow, that really happened, because you're already, it's always like, you know, it'd be Prince on a Monday, Janet Jackson Tuesday, Missy Elliott Wednesday, and you're like, it never really gets a chance, you never get a chance to like, wow, that was amazing, because you're literally just like, you know, it's like that the whole time. So, you know, kind of the reflection of it is probably really inspiring, basically. I mean, so you never get a chance to reflect when you're in it. Do you see what I'm saying?
I agree. I agree.
And then what are you grateful for right now in your life?
I'm grateful to be in this beach house in South Carolina. I'm a registered voter down here. I am so excited I just joined a dating app. I hope I meet some conservative men that I can turn out into more liberal. It's the dream.
Exactly. Be like, are you a Trump supporter? I want to date you to make you a Biden, you know.
It's been an interesting month, let me tell you that.
Yes, exactly. And then also, so, you know, it is kind of a weird time. People are not really, you know, working and things. How can we support you, people watching right now?
Well, I feel like I'm pretty supportive right now. I would say, I mean, financially, maybe donate to ACLU or some other organization that is helping create some justice in this world. Because, you know, my grandmother passed in April, and like, it's like I'm blessed because she left me some money, so I'm able to thrive and survive. Oh, how you can support me? Get someone to rent my apartment, Bunny Hole, on 28th and Lex. It's a beautiful place. That's how.
Send me the information. I'll post it.
But that's how. I'm like, right now I'm good, except that I want to get my apartment rented. Okay,
so I'll post it. Send me the information. I'll post it. And then, let's end it on this. Everybody go vote, please. You know, I've had a conversation with my goddaughter who's 19, and she wasn't voting. She said my vote doesn't count, and I was like, girl. And I explained to her why her vote counts. And so I really am, me personally, am targeting that like 18 to 26-ish age group. They're the ones that were protesting, but they're the ones that I don't think are voting. So I'm nervous they're not going to vote. So that's my kind of thing. And, you know, all of us have platforms to be like you and I, and we all need to start posting to be encouraging people to vote right now. So get people excited about it, I think, you know, or whatever, you know, so just basically vote. So Roxy, I want to thank you. This is my 98th episode, as you know. I have my 100th on Thursday, which I'm very excited about. I have Dylan McDermott, Bevy Smith, Lion Babe, and Emma West. So I'm really excited about that. And I just want to thank you for doing this. But, you know, really here on the show, I I am so fortunate to get the opportunity to celebrate people that I think have been very important to culture, which you have been very important. You know, like I said, when I first met you, I thought you were very free, and you are a really free person. I find that very inspiring about you, and
Oh,
you know,
thank you.
you worked really hard. I want to acknowledge that. I know how hard you worked because we were working equally as hard at the same time. I kind of saw it, you know, saw it from a corner of my eye, kind of thing. And you worked really hard. You accomplished a lot, and you really did kind of influence New York City in a way that you know, you changed it in a lot of ways, and you brought a lot to it at the time, you know, at a very specific time. So congratulations to you.
Thank you. Yes, it was an honor to like bring all of this different music that I was obsessed with, from screw to Baltimore club to French rap to everything. It was
Yeah,
like an
amazing.
amazing time period.
So congratulations to you, and without further ado, we bid you adieu.
Oh,
So
yay.
thank you very much. I
Thanks
appreciate
for
it.
having me.
Also, Alana probably watched for 2 minutes, by the way. She was on. She's such a Alana. All right. Love you. Thank you so much.
Love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.